So I've been using a tool for quite a while now, and I decided it was time to give you guys a review so that you could have a look at it, see how I use it, and check it out, see if it might help for you. The tool talking about is called Dynalist. So what is Dynalist? So Dynalist is web-based outlining software. So what is outlining software? And you've probably seen this tons of times. You've worked with it with Microsoft Word. Really, it's just bullet points and bullet points that you can easily move around. So unlike Microsoft Word and some other things, it makes it a little bit easier for you to move bullet points rather than copying and pasting. And the outline can be expanded or collapsed. So you'll notice that right now this particular section here is expanded, but if I click on the little minus sign there, then it's collapsed. So I've been using outline software for a very long time. My very first outline software was called PC Outline, and this was back in the days of DOS, long before Windows. So, and it was a very powerful tool for its time. It, allowed you to add, your outlines, add your bullet points, indent them, move them around, and it did work really well. And I used it for many years before I upgraded to later outlines. And I'd like to do a shout out to Daniel Rose at danielsays.com for the awesome PC outline picture. He's got a lot of great old software information on his website. So definitely check his out. But now things have moved along since the days of DOS. So let's have a look at Dynalist and how I use it. So what are outlines good for? So outlines are fantastic for planning and brainstorming and working out those steps, because it's really easy to add a bullet point and move it around. And I highlighted this next one, checklist, because checklists, I am the checklist king. I mean, if I'm going to start a new project, a new task, a new way of doing something, I always start with a checklist, and Dynalist works fantastic for checklists. They're also great for sharing. So for my students, when I'm teaching time management, I often create checklists for them to help them, be able to follow, to help them be able to implement things. So that's what outlining software is about. So what does Dynalist do with outlining, that might be a little bit different than, say, working with other programs? So I'm going to go through some of the features here, and as you can see, there's lots of them. So Dynalist has, first off, a file pane, which is up here. And if I click on it, it'll show all the different files I have. So you notice you can create both documents and folders. So, and then within a folder, I can be putting in, my upcoming ideas for articles and webinars and things like that. So this lets you easily organize all those different ones you're going to be working with. It's also got a bookmark one here. So if you want to bookmark some of the checklists you use quite often, or some of the outlines you're using quite often, you can go there quickly. And it's also got a tag one if you want to call up everything by tags. So let's say if you want to tag some things as high priority, or to be able to find them easier, you can do it that way. For the most part, I just use this to find things. When I'm working within an outline, I usually prefer to collapse the file pane just to get it out of my way so that I can see this in the full area. So I talked about indenting, and I guess it's not really called outdenting. It might be called unindenting. But how it works is when I have a bullet point here, to indent it, I just hit Tab. To unindent, I just hit Shift Tab. So I can easily move things out, and then I can also then drag them around to rearrange them just by pulling on that little bullet there, and then I can drag it up here to rearrange it. So this makes it really easy to say, oh, this should be above that, or this should be somewhere else. You can see how easy that is to pull that around and do there. There's also a nice little menu. You notice when I point over here, it gives me a zoom in and a menu option. When I click on the open menu, it gives me some options like zooming in, adding a note, deleting, add to bookmarks, indent, unindent, move, etc., colors, all sorts of things. And you notice most of these have keyboard shortcuts. And I'm a real fan of good keyboard shortcuts, because once you remember them, it's much faster usually to do things. So I don't come here, go menu, indent or menu unindent because it's faster to hit tab and shift tab. So but the menu's good to remember all these options because often you forget what was it I could do there, or how do I add a checkbox, or how do I do these things. There's also a shortcut pane as well if you want to see it. So if I go up over here and go to this top menu and go shortcuts and formatting, it will give me a big pane here with a lot of the things we're doing: bolding, italics, strike throughs. It even works with formulas, it looks like. Again, the other ones: indent, unindent, help. And like tons of information here. I don't like this open all the time because it looks busy, but it's great to be able to have there when I want it. So I usually leave the shortcut pane off. Oops, I can close that with just the X there, just to be able to focus on that. Zoom in's a neat one too. So if you click on here and go zoom in, this is great for training, or if you want to look at just one area. So you just go to the little menu area over here and click on zoom in, or of course control, and then the right bracket will do that. When you want to go back to a level, you go here. This would just let me zoom in on features. If I want to go back to the top level, I can go here to the Dynalist review. So let's go zoom in here back to the features. Now the next part's really critical. I love this part. This is checklists. So you could easily just add checklists here by going to your menu and going to there's no checklist. There's already a checklist there, so you can't do it. You can check it off or remove a checklist. If I wanted to add a checklist to anything else, I can just go here and I can go menu and I could do add checkbox to add it, or again, Control-Shift-C. Once you have a checklist, it's very cool. You can tick it off to see what's done, and then it automatically crosses that off. So this is just a great way to do very simple checklists you can easily share with people. In addition to working with checklists, you can also number the children. So the bullet points under the top level are called children. So you can number your children instead of having them as a checklist. And once again, that's done by using the over here to just change that. So if I wanted to, for example, go up here and I wanted to number the children, I can go down here and do that, or I can go Control-Shift-X. So instead of bullet points, you can use numbers or checklists as well. Collapse and open, I've shown you that a fair bit. The really benefit of opening and closing is you can focus on a certain area, open it only when you need it, but there could be 50 or 100 subpoints under there, but when you collapse it, you can see the entire outline. So think of if you were to set up an outline for a book or an online course, even if your book has 50 chapters, you could easily show some of the main areas that you're grouping it under. Another feature I really like is that you can highlight these as well. So to highlight them, again, you go to the menu. You can choose from these colors down here, or you can, of course, choose Control-Shift-L to go through colors. So Control-Shift-L will take you through all the different colors, which I find really, really helpful. No tool today, in my mind, is complete without being able to share it easily, and this is no exception. You could easily just go ahead and share your documents with people. It makes it really easy to be able to share your checklist with them. So that really helps a lot. And mobile is the other thing. In this day and age, if something does not work well in mobile, it's not even worth it for me to look at. Now, one of the drawbacks I find is sometimes I'll find a great tool. I love it on my desktop, but the mobile app is really slow or clunky. I found that problem with Notion. I love Notion, but I found Notion just didn't work for quick notes. What I love about Dynalist is that Dynalist is blindingly fast in mobile, and it works really well. And it gives you a little inbox where you can easily just take notes or add things quickly and then move them later. So Dynalist, it is very strong from a mobile perspective. Settings. We've got some settings up here. If you click on them, you can check them out. Lets you change your appearance if you want a light or dark theme, which is really quite helpful. Sepia, so you can change the different ones here. Dark gold, Christmas is always fun. Ooh, there we go. Blind my eyes, I think. So you could choose which one you want there. List density, do you want them further apart, more cozy, compact, and so on. It gives you some options here for font sizes and even what font you using if you want the spell check, formatting for the dates, time zones, recurring, etc. So it's giving you a lot there. You can also remap the keys if you want. I tend to work with the standard keys in case I've got clients who are using the same tool, and then that way, if I changed indent and undent to the arrow keys or something, then I would be very confused if I'm trying to help my clients. But you can change them if you want. And of course, there's some settings that you're allowed to do with Dynalist Pro as well. We'll talk about Dynalist Pro in a moment. There's also a top right menu up here, and that's where I got the toggle for the shortcuts and formatting that lets you go through help, lets you find your settings and upload manager, tell a friend. Also takes you through a tutorial. If you click on it, it will show you here how to do this. So it's got really nice stuff set in, helping you, move between and zoom, etc. So it's helping you with all that as well. Yeah, so a lot of information up here in there. You can also download a backup or import from another tool. Search. There's a little search box right up here, so you can just very quickly search. It gives you both a flat search, which is just searching within this document, or searching across all documents. And I find that really useful if you've been clipping articles or gathering a lot of resources and information. Searching across all your documents helps a lot. And there's ways to refine your searches. So it looks like it gives you some really complex ways to do that as well. It gives you some view options as well. I don't use these a lot, but you can view just maybe checked items. Do you want them showed or hidden? This one's kind of fun. This is a list, or I can change this to look like an article, or even a mind map. That's only a pro feature, but something that you can play with as well. But for the most part, I find that these tools are not really, it's fun to look at it as a mind map, but in all honesty, it's not a great mind mapping tool. You're better off with a good mind mapping tool. Dynalist is great though for laying things out for the step-by-step. So one other feature worth mentioning is being able to add pictures, and that is a pro feature. Now Dynalist, all these features I've shown you, with the exception of adding pictures or the mind map, are all part of the free plan. So Dynalist is really quite powerful in the free plan. I did upgrade to Pro. When I find when I use something every day, it just makes sense to upgrade it and get the higher levels of support and the features. And of course, I wanted to be able to add the picture because I was so proud of the fact that I was able to show you my first outline software, PC outline. So in that case, I really wanted it. And you can see the power of being able to show a picture in here as well. So this would let you do screenshots. So you could use this for process documentation and things like that. So that's my, kind of review of Dynalist. I use it for tons of things. I have a lot of students, so I'm constantly creating checklists for them. I use this every day. It's really a very powerful tool. Versus some other common tools, you might say, well, Garland, can I do most of this in Microsoft Word or PowerPoint? And yeah, you can, but it's not as intuitive. There's not as many keyboard shortcuts to move around easily. And the problem is all of your checklists are then in separate Microsoft Word documents you have to call up. Whereas here, I can call up all of my checklists here. I can just open up the checklist folder and get all of them here. So that works well. PowerPoint I use all the time because I'm a speaker. So I use PowerPoint a lot. And I do love the outline feature in PowerPoint. But what I do is I tend to outline in Dynalist first, then copy the list, then copy and paste that into the outline in PowerPoint. And then I go ahead with continuing with PowerPoint. Pricing, let's look at Dynalist Pricing for you. Just to show you the power of it. So you can have unlimited items and documents for free. You can move items, markdown, formatting, dates, tags, checklists, sharing and collaboration. They limit your bookmarks a bit, but they do let you export and import. So wow, that's really powerful. And I will tell you, I used it for about 3 or 4 months before I upgraded. So upgrading to Pro, $9.99 if you bill monthly, $7.99 if you bill annually. And they give you some Google Calendar integration, captured inbox, the tag pane, recurring dates, unlimited bookmarks, daily Dropbox and Google Drive, and so on. And they give you some things there. And the picture support was, I think, the main one that I really wanted there in that case. And it looks like students can get a 50% student discount, and they do offer a free trial, so you can try it out. But I will tell you that I do really find Dynalist to be worthwhile. So that's my Dynalist review. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Please hit the like and subscribe button as it encourages me to make more of these. Thanks so much for listening.